I have with me Brigadier General Sani Usman, who is the Director, Army Public Relations. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Now, we heard from that report there, successes are being made, and I'm sure that a number of people can testify to that. Only recently, the military talked about Sambisa, now, firmly under the control of the Nigerian military. But then, only yesterday, there were, reports of suicide bombings. It would seem that the terrorists are beginning to devise new ways, to fight this war, it would seem. What's your take? Is this something that we expected was going to happen in this manner?
Well, that is why, the long and short answer to your question actually is yes. We expected it because naturally when you dislodge them from their respective camps, particularly their stronghold in Sambisa, Parisu, Camp Zero, they panned out. And of course, we even informed the public period to take it up because we realized that they were in this area and they may not give up so easily. Therefore, they might try another tactics. Hence, we enjoin members of the public to be security conscious and be vigilant and report any suspicious person or group of persons. The good thing about it is that members of the public have risen up to the occasion to the point that they have been reporting, and that is why the attacks on soft targets or the suicide bomb attacks were not able to materialize the way they expected them to materialize, causing so much damage or causing so much casualty. But we still have to appeal to the members of the public to continue to be more vigilant, especially those in the northeastern part of Nigeria, to the point that these people are normal human beings that mingle with the society. So once you up the ante of vigilance, there is every likelihood before they carried out their nefarious activities, they are apprehended, and their bombs may not detonate in the public. And apart from that also, whenever you are, coupling an IED, about 10 other persons will be in the chain of it, either procurement of the materials, transportation, and host of other things. Along the line, if the public are more conscious and more vigilant, definitely they will notice one thing or the other that is amiss and report immediately.
Well, what is the method? I mean, yes, we know immediately that after the army did conquer Sambisa, one of the statements that was issued out was that people need to be more vigilant, and that would seem to be a warning across the entire country.
Exactly.
Because we never knew where they were going to disperse to. We're told that some were caught here in Abuja, some were caught in Lagos, dispersing that far and wide. Some would think that they would have fled from Maiduguri because they would be easily recognizable, but it would seem that most of the attacks that we've heard so far, some of them failed attacks, happen even within Maiduguri there.
Yeah, you forget so easily that the Boko Haram insurgency, in real sense of the word, started in the Asian city of Maiduguri. And even at the heat of the battle where they were coveting territory, sacking some military units, we still have remnants of them mingling with the society. And that is why we kept on appealing to the members of the public that, look, you have to consider the extent to which these people have been causing so much havoc and damage to society, that instead of you to remain silent simply because you don't want to be the person to expose the person, or there is blood relationship between the two of you, I think it is better for you to consider the lives of other Nigerians than keeping quiet. So basically, it's not a surprising thing that they tend to be concentrated in that area because, number one, that is where they started. Number two, there is a bond of relationship with some of their kids and kin that they may likely find refuge with them as compared to a total stranger or something like that. So by and large, when you look at all these things, the long and short of it is that people have to consider the lives of other people. The damage Boko Haram has been causing over time, and say no to it. So basically, that is it.
Considering the peculiarity now of the situation in Maiduguri, because you've just identified the fact that these people, their relations are there, they can always exploit the fact that their relatives are there and might not be willing to give them up. Is there any concerted effort to communicate very specially with the people of Maiduguri?
Yes. There are a lot of efforts.
I think actually the people of Borno State.
Oh yeah, exactly. Not necessarily the city of Maiduguri. You see that the various stakeholders in the country, not necessarily in the northeastern part of the country, are being engaged at the various level. At the military level, we make sure that we coordinate our activities within the security cycle, and beyond that, we also get in touch with stakeholders, namely government officials, traditional and religious leaders, as well as opinion leaders, and the youth. Particularly, you are quite aware in Maiduguri, for instance, Borno State, generally, we have the Youth Empowerment Program, otherwise known as Civilian JTF. So quite a number of them are being engaged, and the partnership is paying the desired result. But we need to improve on it so that we can have more success as against what we are having now.
So what is the status of the civilian JTF? Because it would seem that they've been heavily instrumental in identifying these people who are the remnants of Boko Haram within the society.
Well, status actually is an ambiguous question, because you could say legal status and the relationship and all the rest. But I can tell you one thing, that they have been wonderful partners in the fight against terrorism and insurgency, just like you rightly mentioned, that they were instrumental to pointing out and arresting some of these criminals that go by the name of Boko Haram. And in most instances, they are familiar with the ground more than the troops or the security forces, so they assist.
Let's go to Lagos now and take some questions. We'll come back and explore certain of the areas.
No, General Usman, it's a pleasure to see you this morning, and it's good that we keep talking about safety and security, which is very key here. And you say these are messages that you want people living in areas prone to Boko Haram attack to internalize. Tell us more of some of the tactics of these insurgents that might have infiltrated our communities, so that people can better understand when they see some of them, or when they have an idea of what is happening within their environment.
Thank you very much, Suleiman. Happy New Year anyway, by the way. They employ quite a number of tactics, and we kept on informing the public as their tactics changes. For instance, there were instances they disguised as internally displaced persons or refugees, as the case may be, seeking for help, or disguised as madmen. And sometimes they came in as water vendors, looking for menial jobs and a host of other things. And above all, actually, if you look at areas like Pulka, where they come up with, a new form of dressing, we also inform the public. For instance, in a community that is maybe Christian dominated, suddenly you see someone with hijab, or very early in the morning you see someone that is going to somewhere, that maybe going to market, odd things at odd hours. For instance, what happened in Maiduguri just about 2 or 3 days ago, when they knocked on someone's house at Bulama about 1 a.m. For goodness sake, you are not expecting anybody by 1 a.m. Why should you open your door for him? But of course, these are some of the things that are common in our society. We are open, we are hospitable, but they tend to take and do advantage of everything that bound us together as a nation or a peace-loving people. So whenever you see odd things, definitely you are supposed to raise your instinct and ask questions or do the needful. And on our own part, once we get information about the change of tactics or modus operandi of these terrorists, we'll definitely inform the public as time goes on.
Just recently you paraded, the Nigerian army paraded some of these people who say they have changed, and the army also told the nation that they have been rehabilitated and, well, you know, changed Nigerians to the extent that some of them spoke to us on what life was for them as members of Boko Haram. How did they come before the nation? Did they voluntarily walk up to the Nigerian army to say they were tired of living lives as members of Boko Haram, or were these some of those that we captured who just realized that they should turn a new leaf?
Yeah, but it depends on the. But one thing I want you to understand: those 10 that were paraded were not the first set of people. We remember way back when Bama was captured, or rather recaptured from the terrorists, and quite a number of them voluntarily gave off their arms when the heat was on them, and some of them were actually caught. And they were not bearing arms, and they said, look, they realized they are, you know, they have been misled and all the rest. So it depends on the individual. But by and large, some of them voluntarily actually went to our troops and said, look, I was a member of Boko Haram and I realized I was wrong, and please take me in. And then there were those that were caught. There are some of them actually, they were victims of circumstances. For instance, you know, when the Boko Haram terrorists captured their villages, you know, they took them as hostages and all the rest of them. And they over time, they imbibed the doctrine and participated. So eventually, when such towns are rescued back or recaptured, you know, they mention their status and state the fact that actually they were forced into that. And once somebody is not bearing arms, you have to treat him humanly. Even if the person is caught with arms, naturally, there are international conventions and, of course, our local rules of engagement that you just have to respect that. So quite a number of them came through those processes.